But when I've done interviews, they often ask things like, just off the cuff, they might say, can you explain the difference between the present simple and the present perfect? So it's good to have a few bits of grammar that you know well, just in case. And if not, you need to be good at bluffing your way out of it by talking about how you would teach it, as opposed to, if you're not really sure how to explain the difference, talk about how you would approach teaching it, because that's, if anything, it's more important. You know how to deal with not knowing something than just knowing everything instantly, which nobody can do. So it's more about learning how to deal with it, I suppose. And the other thing is, I've always been asked something like, how would you deal with a particular situation, like bullying?
I think one of the first questions they ask you is your experience. Some schools will ask you about your qualifications, your level of Spanish.
General questions about your experience, and I think if you haven't got experience, your interest and how they could possibly relate to the job.
Experience, about your experience, why you want to have this job, why you want to live in Spain, about your interests and your future plans.
I think an obvious question would be your experience with Spanish, because it affects your teaching and your happiness outside of work, which affects your job as well. And I think also they'll ask you about your experience, both teaching and with preparing students for exams.
I think you'll be asked about your experience of teaching different groups, of group sizes, of exam levels, or your awareness of the different levels. Any previous experience with young people generally, or teaching or education in general. And really your motivation, in terms of what you want to do. Is it just for a year, or is it for a long time? Are you starting out? Is it a career change?
They asked me if I had any experience with young learners. You have to be a people person. If you're not a people person, it's no point really, because you can be working with children, adults, teenagers all the time. So they asked about previous experience and things like that.
They'll ask you everything from your level of experience to your level of Spanish to your qualifications. But the school that ended up hiring me, I think the most important thing for them was your attitude. So just make sure that you're open, don't be too nervous. Try not to be too nervous and just be yourself.